Nobody asked for this. Nobody voted on it. Nobody was given a choice. On October 14th, 2025, Microsoft terminated free security updates for Windows 10, the operating system running on more than 900 million personal computers worldwide. And hidden inside that decision was a move that the tech press covered as a routine lifecycle event, but that is, in reality, one of the most consequential moments in personal computing history. Because here is what Microsoft also did not do. They did not make Windows 11 available to everyone. They drew a hardware line in the sand, TPM2, 0, UEFI Secure Boot, and a specific list of supported CPU generations, and everything. Older than that line was told, you are on your own. Buy new hardware, pay us annually for extended security updates, or run an unpatched operating system and accept the risk. Independent estimates put the number of PCs stranded on the wrong side of that line somewhere between 240 million and 400 million machines. Perfectly functional. Computers, bought by real people with real money, declared obsolete by a policy decision, not by the laws of physics. And for hundreds of millions of those people, a third option quietly became real for the first time: Linux. This is the story of how Microsoft made the Linux switch not just viable, but in many cases the most rational choice available, and why the numbers coming out of the 6 months. Following October 14th, 2025 suggests that this moment will be remembered as the biggest permanent shift in the desktop OS landscape since Windows XP. To understand why this matters, you need to understand what Microsoft's hardware requirements actually mean in human terms. The TPM2, 0 requirement blocks CPUs older than Intel's 8th generation and AMD's Ryzen 2000 series from officially running Windows 11. This sounds technical until you translate it. A computer with an Intel Core i7 of the 7th generation, a machine that in 2017 cost over $1,000 and ran every piece of modern software at full speed, was declared ineligible. Not because it cannot run Windows 11, not because Microsoft tested it and found performance problems, but because it predates the arbitrary cutoff on the EA-supported CPU list. Tom's Hardware's estimate 240 million PCs heading to electronic waste as a direct result. Independent enterprise analysis firm Lansweeper, scanning 30 million Windows devices, found that approximately 35% of machines in active use as of 2025 could not meet Windows 11's requirements. At the global scale of Windows 10's installed base, 35% represents hundreds of millions of devices. Microsoft's offered alternatives were the following. First, buy a new Windows 11 capable computer. Second, enroll in the Extended Security Updates program, a one-year bridge through October 2026 that provides security-only patches with no new features. The consumer ESU was available free through certain Microsoft account sync requirements, or through Microsoft Rewards redemption, or as a paid one-time purchase of approximately $30. After October 2026, that bridge also expires. Third option offered officially, nothing. The fourth option, the one Microsoft did not advertise, did not recommend, and did not facilitate, is Linux. A free, actively maintained, privacy-respecting operating system that runs on the same hardware Windows 10 ran on, with full security support, without requiring a Microsoft account, without a subscription, and without a hardware upgrade. On October 14th, 2025, the exact day Microsoft's free Windows 10 support ended, the Zorin Group released Zorin OS 18. The timing was deliberate. Zorin OS is a Linux distribution built specifically for Windows users. The interface mimics Windows. The taskbar is at the bottom. The application launcher looks familiar. The file manager works the way Windows users expect. It is the Linux distribution most deliberately engineered to reduce the psychological distance between Windows and Linux for a first-time switcher. In the first 2 days after release, Zorin OS 18 reached 100,000 downloads. The Zorin Group reported that over 72% of those downloads came from Windows systems, meaning roughly 72,000. Of the first 100,000 people who downloaded Zorin OS were doing so from a Windows machine they were considering leaving. 5 weeks after release, total downloads crossed 1 million. Of those, approximately 780,000 came from Windows devices. This is a documented, developer-confirmed figure reported by Windows Central, Tom's Hardware, and Technobez simultaneously. Over 750,000 Windows users, in 5 weeks, chose to download a Linux distribution, rather than buy new hardware or pay for ESU. By January 11th, 2026, less than 3 months after launch, Zorin OS 18 crossed 2 million downloads. More than 75% of those downloads came from Windows users. The Zorin Group described it as the biggest release in the project's history. Windows Central called it one of Linux's biggest growth stories in 2026. Zorin OS is one distribution. Linux Mint, which has been the consistent recommendation for Windows migrants for years, saw its own surge in downloads through October and November 2025. Ubuntu, Fedora, and Pop. OS all reported increased download volumes during the same period. The End of 10 campaign, a coordinated push by Linux advocates urging Windows 10 users to migrate rather than upgrade, circulated across tech forums and social media in the months before the deadline and contributed to awareness. The macro numbers reflect this. Linux desktop market share reached 7% globally in 2025, a 70% increase from 76% recorded in July 2022. The United States crossed the 5% threshold for the first time in June 2025. The U.S. federal government's own website analytics reported Linux accounting for 6% of desktop visits from government visitors by August 2025, above macOS in some measurements. Steam's Linux gaming market share hit 33% in March 2026, the highest in the platform's history. These numbers are not a revolution. They are the beginning of one. And every single one of them is a direct downstream consequence of Microsoft's decision to hardware gate Windows 11 and end Windows 10 support on a fixed calendar date. The Linux of 2025 is not the Linux of 2010. This point is so frequently made and so frequently dismissed that it deserves a concrete accounting. In 2010, installing Linux meant researching driver compatibility before you bought hardware, configuring Wi-Fi from a terminal. Windows, spending an afternoon trying to get multimedia codecs to work, and explaining to everyone in your life why you could not open their Word documents. Those problems were real, and they created a reputation for Linux that has outlasted the problems themselves. Here is what has actually changed. Modern Linux distributions: Zorin OS 18, Linux Mint 22, Ubuntu 24. 04 LTS, detect and configure most hardware automatically. Wireless cards, graphics cards, audio devices, printers, webcams, the majority work out of the box without any manual intervention. LibreOffice opens Microsoft Office documents. Firefox, Chrome, Brave, and virtually every major browser is available natively. Spotify has a Linux client. Discord has a Linux client. Zoom has a Linux client. Steam runs natively on Linux, and its Proton compatibility layer covers approximately 89% of the Steam catalog, meaning the games in your library most likely already work. Zorin OS 18 specifically was designed with the Windows 10 end-of-life migration in mind. It ships with Windows-like desktop layouts that replicate the visual experience of Windows 10 and 11. It includes a web apps tool that lets users install services like Microsoft 365, Google Drive, and Teams as desktop icons that open in an isolated browser window, preserving cloud-based workflows without requiring native Linux applications. It includes OneDrive integration through Genome Online accounts. It has built-in RDP support for users who still need to access Windows machines remotely. The application store is graphical, searchable, and requires no terminal interaction for standard software installation. Linux Mint 22 is built on the same principle. The Cinnamon desktop environment looks like Windows, behaves like Windows at the muscle memory level. Taskbar at the bottom, right-click works the way you expect. File Manager shows drives and folders in a familiar hierarchy. The Timeshift backup tool makes creating system snapshots as simple as clicking a button. The Driver Manager detects and installs hardware drivers in a single interface. The Update Manager is graphical and straightforward. Neither of these distributions requires a Microsoft account. Neither of them serves you advertisements inside the operating system interface. Neither of them takes screenshots of your screen every few seconds. Neither of them updates itself on a schedule controlled by a machine learning algorithm you cannot opt out of. Neither of them has telemetry that cannot be fully disabled. The relationship between you and the operating system is simply, you run software, the software runs, everything stays on your machine. For the specific category of user being forced off Windows 10 by Microsoft's hardware policy, Linux addresses every practical concern simultaneously. The machine they already own keeps working. The cost is zero. The privacy situation is categorically better. The update quality crisis plaguing Windows 11, over 20 documented major update failures in 2025 alone, does not affect them. The recall security vulnerability does not affect them. The forced 25H2 upgrade with no permanent opt-out does not affect them. Not every Windows 10 user ended up at Linux after October 14th, 2025. The migration was real and measurable, but it was not universal. Understanding who actually made the switch and why helps clarify what Microsoft's policy decision actually set in motion. The first group is budget households with functional but ineligible hardware. These are the people with Intel's 7th generation machines. Ryzen 1000 laptops, machines from 2016 and 2017 that run perfectly well but fall outside Microsoft's supported hardware list. For these users, the choice was genuinely binary. Spend money on hardware they did not need to replace or explore the free alternative. The Zorin OS download numbers are largely a measure of this group. Hundreds of thousands of people discovering that Linux in 2025 is not what they feared. The second group is privacy-conscious users who had been watching Windows 11's trajectory with increasing discomfort. The Windows Recall controversy, the ads in the Start menu, the non-disableable telemetry, and the mandatory Microsoft account requirement, the forced update system. For users who had been tolerating Windows 10 while watching Windows 11 develop, the end-of-life deadline was the concrete moment that converted discomfort into action. These users were not primarily driven by hardware incompatibility. They were driven by the documented direction of the product they were being pushed toward. The third group is schools, nonprofits, and small organizations with aging hardware fleets. The economics here are straightforward. Replacing a fleet of 50 computers that run Windows 10 perfectly well because Microsoft drew a hardware line is an expensive proposition for any organization. Linux, specifically Ubuntu LTS or Zorin OS on existing hardware, extends the operational life of those machines by years. The Zorin group specifically reported early enterprise interest from organizations in this category. The fourth group is developers and technical users who had been holding out for practical reasons, Adobe software, specific games, enterprise tools, and found that those barriers had eroded further in 2025 than they had expected. Proton's coverage of 89% of the Steam catalog, DaVinci Resolve's native Linux version, the maturity of LibreOffice, the complete availability of every development tool in the Linux ecosystem, the practical gap between Linux and Windows for this group had narrowed to a set of specific application dependencies that could be worked around through virtualization or had genuine alternatives. The hardware requirement debate has a version of the argument in Microsoft's favor, TPM2. Zero and secure boot are genuine security improvements, hardware-rooted encryption, secure boot chain verification, credential protection tied to physical silicon. These are defensible architectural decisions. The security case for requiring modern hardware is real. What is not defensible is the execution. The hardware cutoff drew an arbitrary line at 8th generation Intel processors with no technical explanation for why a 7th generation processor with identical TPM capability was excluded. Microsoft confirmed that many incompatible machines could actually run Windows 11 without issue. The restrictions are more conservative than the hardware's actual capability requires. The extended security program was designed as a one-year bridge to a mandatory hardware upgrade, not as a genuine alternative for users who cannot afford that upgrade. The ESU free enrollment path required maintaining a Microsoft account and sync conditions that not every user met. What Microsoft revealed with this decision is the business model sitting underneath the hardware policy. Forcing Windows 10 users to upgrade their hardware accelerates PC sales. Requiring Microsoft accounts for setup extends Microsoft's data collection to more users on newer devices. Hardware requirements exclude the machines that are harder to monetize. Older, paid-off hardware where the user is running software they bought years ago and has no ongoing spending relationship with Microsoft's ecosystem. The migration to Linux that followed is not a product of Linux suddenly getting better in October 2025. Linux had been getting better for years. It is a product of Microsoft making the cost of staying in the Windows ecosystem high enough that the cost of switching became lower by comparison. That calculation, cost of staying versus cost of switching, is the lever that drives operating system migration at scale. Microsoft moved it. For anyone who has read this far and is considering whether this applies to their situation, here is the practical information. Zorin OS 18 is the most Windows-like Linux distribution available as of 2026. It was built for this exact migration scenario, ships with Windows layout desktop options out of the box, and includes migration tooling that addresses the most common concerns of Windows users. Long-term support until 2029, available at Zorin.com, free for the standard edition. Linux Mint 22 with a Cinnamon desktop is the consistent recommendation of the broader Linux community for Windows migrants. Its interface is designed to feel familiar. The tooling for backups, driver management, and software installation is all graphical and straightforward. Long-term support until 2027 for the current release. Available at Linux Mint, coming to Ubuntu 24. Zo4. LTS is the most documented Linux distribution in existence. Whatever question you have, whatever problem you encounter, someone has already documented the solution. 5 years of security updates without major version changes. Available at Ubuntu.com. All three can be downloaded, written to a USB drive using a free tool called Rufus on Windows or Balena Etcher on any platform, and run in a live session from the USB drive. Fully functional, testing all your hardware, without installing a single file or changing anything on your computer. This is the zero-risk way to evaluate whether Linux works for your specific machine before committing to anything. The migration process, importing bookmarks, passwords, and files from Windows, takes under an hour for most users. The learning curve is real and concentrated in the first week. Most users who complete the first week report that by the end of the first month, they are no longer thinking about the operating system at all. The Windows 10 end-of-life decision was a standard lifecycle management action, the kind that Microsoft and every other technology company makes on a regular schedule. The hardware requirements for Windows 11 were a security-motivated architectural decision with a legitimate technical rationale, but intent and consequence are different things. The consequence of ending support for an operating system running on hundreds of millions of machines while simultaneously blocking a significant portion of those machines from upgrading without hardware purchases was always going to create exactly this: a class of users for whom the cost of staying in the Windows ecosystem became genuinely higher than the cost of leaving it. Zorin OS's 2 million downloads in 3 months, with over 75% coming from Windows users, is not a rounding error. Linux desktop market share growing 70% in 3 years is not noise. Steam Linux gaming reaching its all-time high in March 2026 is not an anomaly. These are signals from a market that was given a push by a policy decision and discovered that the alternative was more ready than expected. Microsoft made the Linux switch mandatory for hundreds of millions of users by removing their other viable options. Many of those users are discovering something that Linux users have known for years. The alternative is not a sacrifice. For most everyday computing tasks, it is simply a different way to do the same things, with fewer ads, fewer forced updates, and an operating system that does not treat the hardware you own as a platform for someone else's business model. That is the story of October 14th, 2025. And the downstream consequences of that date are still accumulating.